Talking Luther College women's soccer with head coach Russ Schoweiler, and coach are off to a 4-0 start this season. Got a couple of wins over the weekend. When I talked to you last week, you talked about you were getting a lot of chances, weren't putting it in the back of the net as much as you wanted. 9 goals in 2 games. You've got to be pleased with that, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to finally get some payoff for the opportunities we were creating. And to be honest, I still think we have the expectation it could have been a little bit better. A couple offside goals, still hitting some posts, some things in front that we didn't clean up on. So we still feel it's an area we can improve on, but I think it's good. I think it's good for the confidence of some of our players that need to get their first goals of the season and get them going. So, 9 goals, I'm not going to complain.
And when you think about it, when you're getting all these opportunities, the law of averages are eventually going to catch up with you, right?
You'd like to think so. You just don't know if it's going to be the next game or if it's going to be in October or anything like that. So, yeah, I think that was part of it. It was good for the girls to keep pressing and keep going for it and making sure that they didn't get their head down after last weekend and that they still knew that they could put the ball in the back of the net, and they did it.
And the 9 goals in 2 good days, wins over Cornell and Wisconsin Stevens Point. Playing back-to-back like that, talk about it, the challenge that is, but scheduling it that way, does that prepare you for later on in the season?
Yeah, that's kind of the impetus behind why we do it. We try to give them that experience of, okay, what happens when you're in the playoffs and you're in postseason and you have to play back-to-back? You've got to be well prepared, but you have to think about how do you recover and how do we go out the next day and win again. How do they deal with the scouting report? How do they deal with no practice before a game? And I think it's very valuable, and that's what the first 2 weekends were all about. We won't see anything like that until postseason play. So now we're into a little bit more of a normal schedule, but it was good for them to accept that challenge.
And that normal schedule continues tomorrow night here at home. You take on St. Mary's. What do you expect out of them?
They're always extremely well coached. I've got a lot of respect for their coach. They're a team that has turned some heads already this season, and I think as per usual, last year it was a 1-goal game and nice and tight, and I think this year as well it's going to be another nice and tight game that is going to come down to the wire.
And McAllister comes in over the weekend. Give us a scouting report on them.
They're always tough. They always seem to have a little bit of our number. They lose a couple key players from last year, but another extremely well-coached team, well-organized. Got to be weary on set plays with them and make sure that, we've got to play a perfect game. You can't give a team like McAllister anything because they've got good enough players to exploit your mistakes. So we've got to be smart with it on Saturday.
And in this first week and a half of the academic year, having 4 home games, does that kind of help get everybody in a little bit more of a normal routine as compared to traveling this time of year?
Yeah, I think so. I think it lets the players settle in a little bit and gets them that schedule. I think it's hard enough to just get into a regular practice schedule and then classes, and to be able to be at home and to have home games, to have your crowd around, I think is important. I think the campus as a whole is pretty energized this time of the year and wants to get out and support teams and be at events. So it's a lot of fun to have home games the opening weekend, the opening week, and the following weekend, just because we get a lot of fans as well, and that's neat, and the team feeds off of that as well.
All right, hopefully it's an undefeated record we're talking about next week. Once again, Coach, we wish you best of luck.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Russ Schoweiler talking Luther College women's soccer.